This afternoon, we're learning gruesome new details after a man who pleaded guilty to killing his roommate and then cutting off his thumb appeared in court. Good afternoon. I'm Cheryl McHenry.
I'm James Brown. News Center 7's Mike Campbell watched as the judge gathered information before sentencing of Sean Higgins.
Mike joins us live with more on the new information revealed by investigators. Mike.
Well, Cheryl, this sentencing hearing took place 7 months after investigators found 25-year-old Easton Ho dead in an Indiana creek. And today, here inside a Miami County courtroom, police and prosecutors were working to convince a judge to deny Sean Higgins any chance at parole for this shocking killing.
He told me that he had put Easton into the Greenville Creek along with all the mattress and pillows and belongings.
A Troy police captain told a judge that Sean Higgins admitted killing his apartment roommate back in April of this year. They uncovered the murder when a third roommate, Ho's girlfriend, reported him missing. Other detectives testified that Sean Higgins tried to act surprised, but a search of his internet history revealed that was all an act.
Searched my friend, disappeared, and doesn't want to be contacted at 7:13 hours from the general area south of Dayton. Searched, can a phone be tracked in airplane mode?
A deputy coroner testified that Easton Ho suffered 60 total wounds for being stabbed and hit with a blunt force tool like a hammer, and that the victim was missing his thumb. But the most incriminating testimony came from the police interrogation of Sean Higgins. That happened after police decided that their #1 person of interest was Higgins, believing he attacked Ho in the apartment and in the garage. Higgins began admitting shocking facts.
That bag is actually in my room right now. I just remembered that.
Police found the missing body part along with a knife and a sledgehammer they believe was used in the attack inside a backpack in Higgins' room. Higgins claimed that Ho woke up and attacked him as Ho slept on a living room hide-a-bed couch.
I'm not sure it was self-defense or not because I was thinking of doing something, but he acted first.
Troy police said there was no evidence Ho attacked first and told the judge Sean Higgins attacked Easton Ho in the apartment, then in the garage. They testified Ho was struck with a small sledgehammer, stabbed repeatedly, and finally fell on the garage floor.
So I actually backed over.
You ran over him?
Yes.
Now, Troy police said they found Ho's car abandoned in Kettering. They believe that Sean Higgins took that vehicle, drove 160 miles total, dumping Ho's body in that Indiana creek, then driving back to Kettering, and then taking an Uber from there back to Troy and trying to convince everyone that his friend was missing, and he was as shocked as everyone else was. Now, stay with us next hour because I'm working to bring you more information about what the family of Easton Ho had to say about the testimony they heard today and losing their loved one. For now, reporting live in Troy, Mike Campbell, News Center 7.